Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where this is definitely a larger asteroid than we were planning to move with this particular craft. This craft was designed to move a Class A asteroid. This is a Class B. We decided to grab the Class B asteroid because we didn't have a Class A, but the Class B needs to go into orbit around the Moon. The Class A only needs to go into orbit around Kerbal. So as you can see, our Delta V is very low in this craft with a Class B asteroid. All we're going to do is capture it with Kerbal here, and let's go ahead and warp towards this maneuver here. All we're going to do is capture it in Kerbal, and then we're probably going to have to bring another tug in, and that should have enough oomph to put that where we're going to bring it. So that'll be fine. We'll probably just detach this and crash it into like Minmus or something. That would be the overall idea there. It doesn't really matter, I think, when we perform this burn, so let's get started on that. This is going to be ooh, okay. We should not be physics warping the burn. Okay, we just don't have enough to be able to hold this in position, it seems. That is very exciting, to be sure. Like I said, this was not designed for a Class B asteroid. We're slowing it down. And I'm hoping that we'll have enough to be able to control the oomph of the electric ion propulsion engine. That'll be hopeful. Let's go ahead and physics warp as we attempt to get this spin under control. I believe we're slowing it down. I hope. We're just going to hop over to retrograde. Yeah, it's definitely slowing down. Okay, and of course this is because we don't have enough reaction wheel to hold this thing, and we're not exactly on the center of mass. That is the primary issue there. So we're going to try thrust limiting this down to, I don't know, like 10%. 10% thrust here. And let's see how that goes. So far 10% thrust seems okay. Let's try 20%. 20% thrust seems fine. 30%. We seem to be stable at 30. 40% thrust. Looks good. 50% thrust. I think we're good. So we're just going to burn out the rest of this stage here. That'll be done in 10 seconds, allegedly. This liquid fuel doesn't seem to actually be... Oh, I'm dumb. This NCS adapter is only liquid fuel. There's no oxidizer in it. That was a bunch of dead weight then. Okay, well... Nothing we can do about it now. All we can do is ion propulsion. And we should definitely be able to physics warp this. Now, this is going to be an exceptionally lengthy burn. There's no doubt about that. All we're trying to do is take this until we have... yeah, we're definitely going to be okay here. But we're just trying to take this until we have a minimal orbit. It's going to take a while at this thrust to weight. Again, this was not designed for a Class B asteroid. This was designed for a Class A asteroid. And we're not going to have enough here. But this is going to be a very lengthy burn, and I am not going to make you sit through the whole thing. So I am going to hop into this view here. And I'm going to hit the pause button, and I will be right back as soon as this burn is over. I am not planning on inputting any control inputs. If I do input control inputs other than stopping this burn, then we'll be back. See you in a bit. And we're back. As you can see, we're not in orbit yet, but we're starting to get some real good exponential movement. That's in orbit. Okay, perfect. There we go. That's barely in orbit, but it's in orbit nonetheless. We have 224 meters per second left, a whole lot more than that if we detach this. But for the time being, I want to set this as our target. And then we're basically at the descending node right now. That's a little bit awkward. The ascending node's in 36 days. How much do we actually need to burn here in terms of Delta V to match planes here? Well, let's see. The answer is a decent chunk. But that's not too bad. Yeah, this is super doable. So we're going to position for that burn. And we're going to have some, like, 30 meters per second left over? That may not sound like much, but that's going to be a lot of delta V once we detach here. I'm planning to crash this into Minmus, and then we'll come grab this with another asteroid grabber, one that has a little bit more fuel, so that we can get this into a lunar orbit. I want to know exactly how much delta V we're going to need to do that. That'll be interesting. But let's go ahead and warp to this next burn. As you can see, this is going to be another very lengthy burn, so we're going to have to pause that as well. It's going to be about 10 minutes for me real time in physics warp. So that will be definitely a little bit exciting. Yeah, I'm going to have to, like, go grab a drink or something. I don't know. There's going to be no input that needs to happen over that time. It's just that our thrust to weight is super duper low, right? Like, ridiculously low. This was never intended to move an asteroid of this size. Never intended to do this. But we'll just finish up this warp here. I'm surprised that that warp is only half over at this distance. Okay, sure. But we're definitely going to be able to get this thing crashed into Minmus with what we have left over, and that's not going to take too long either. Once we detach this thrust to weight will be fine for that. So I'm not concerned. We've got about 10 days left on our time warp here. And that'll be ready to go very soon here. So we'll just get our inclination corrected. And this will be, as I said, a very lengthy burn indeed. We don't really care too much about the exact timing of this. In fact, all these times are so inflated that we can probably just immediately begin the burn as soon as this time warp is over, which it now is. So let's go ahead and begin that burn. And let's hop into physics warp. And as you can see, this is going to be like a 40-minute burn reduced by 4x. So divide that number by 4 because of the 4x time warp, or rather physics warp. But I will be back here in about 10 minutes. That's going to be exciting. See you in a bit. Okay, quick update here. We have gotten about halfway through. I've gotten a drink. I've walked around a bit, stretched my legs, and still got like 5 minutes to go in this warp. So I will see you guys in just a moment. And now, at long last, this burn is nearly over. Let's get this done. That definitely took a long time. You're very glad I didn't make you sit through that. We've got about a minute left on this burn here, but that's actually, you know, like 15 seconds. So 4 meters per second to go. And almost there. 1 meter per second to go. Half a meter per second. There we go. We'll call that good. So, at this point, if we wanted to intercept the moon, what would this end up looking like? We would come in something like this. I'm just wondering what kind of delta V it would end up requiring. So, something kind of like this-ish. Kind of like... yeah. Kind of like this. Honestly, that's not too bad. But this is not what we're going to do. What we're going to do right now is we are going to detach from this asteroid. We are tracking it, so we're not going to lose this. We're going to release our advanced grabbing unit, and off we go. So now you can see we instantly have over 1,000 meters per second. At this point, we are going to set Minmus as our target. Actually, we could just crash into Moon. That would probably be easier to crash into Moon. So that'll be a little quicker. Apparently, our ascending node is slightly off. And this maneuver is really awkward. Wait, what is this even doing? Set Moon as target. There we go. Add a maneuver, and we would need to intercept it somewhere around here. Okay. So we're just going to do something like that. And like I said, all we want to do is crash into Moon. We don't want to enter an orbit or anything. This probe is basically spent at this time. So we're going to modify this maneuver a little bit until we are crashing. That is not a crash. I can tell you that right now. Okay, come on. This flat trajectory makes it awkward to try to set this up. Okay, something kind of like that. That's about as close as we get, and then we set the radial maybe a little bit. Radial burns are not really helping. Neither is retrograde, really. I was hoping to just get an encounter here where we just rammed into the moon. It seems like with this timing, that is a difficult one to find. Although, that's very close. Hello? Maybe? Yes. That rams the moon. Okay. We'll line up for that maneuver node. That is a very rapid turn. And let's go ahead and warp to that. That'll be in 6 days. So yeah, this probe is pretty much spent. You can see our xenon gas is very low at this point. So we're heading on out. We've now created a new very minor moon around Kerbal. That's wonderful. That's actually our target right there. Cool. So let's warp in to about this burn time. This is not going to be a lengthy burn. We have plenty of thrust to weight with this thing. So that'll be great. 5 meters, or not meters per second, 5 seconds until the burn, but now it's time to burn. Cool. We'll physics warp for a bit. And let's keep an eye on this encounter. That'll do. Okay, I just wanted to see if that would actually change anything. The answer is not really, so we need to come up over like this way and go and burn like anti-target. Yeah, that's about what I want. Cool. So now we'll warp to here. We're coming for you, moon. We're coming for you. There's our target right there. And we are on a trajectory to hit it as we speak. It's going to be multiple orbits, but this is completely fine. Is it going to be this orbit that we hit it? Maybe, but I think probably not. No, not for a bit yet. Not for a bit yet. I'm just wondering, what is this? Is this just a time warp thing? Yeah, now we're in space high over the moon. It was just a time warp thing, not showing the trajectory here correctly. Very strange. But for now, we're going to warp to about here. That's going to be 2 hours in the future. And we're going to go into... Actually, we can't target it, but we can go into, like... I just want to go pure prograde, I feel like. And then we'll warp like 14 more minutes into the future. We can see that we're actually going to be hitting fairly close to our experiment control station, but not super close. I'm not going to try to guide the impact at all. We're just going to head on in at maximum speed. So we're going to physics warp while we burn here. And we can see that our impact is going to be in about 3 minutes. In fact, I'm not sure that the burn is helping. Get that impact faster, I mean. I think that we should probably... Whoa, that's very, very fast on physics warp. Okay. I want to be right here for this burn. I want to just burn into the moon. Cool. So just burning straight towards the center of the moon right now. And that's exactly what we want. We can see that impact will be in about a minute. And we're going to need to get ourselves another probe. Again, this is not designed for moving a Class B probe, but at this point it would be overkill to bring in one that was built for moving a Class B asteroid. I think I said probe before. I meant to say asteroid. There's not really a point in building one at this point because a Class A style is absolutely going to be capable of moving it where we need it to go. So we're going to impact here and say goodbye to this little probe. It got a lot done. Splat. Exactly as planned. It's going to say it's a catastrophic failure. It's not a catastrophic failure. This was the plan. Wait, did a part survive? No, there's the catastrophic failure. Okay, back to the Space Center we go. And that crash was always planned. So at this point, we're going to run another asteroid redirector up. And this one is going to... Oh, the lighting bug again. We're just going to hop into the VAB here. This is fine. I'm going to rename this from Asteroid Redirector to Asteroid Redirector Class A, because this is specifically designed for moving a Class A asteroid, and it can move a Class B, but it's not very efficient at it. So that's definitely something to think about. And we're going to have to come up with different designs for like each class of asteroid up to E. But for now, we're going to go ahead and launch the Asteroid Redirector Class A. We only need one of these, and we just got to get this into Mooner orbit, and that'll be pretty easy to do. Step 1, of course, is get it into Kerbal orbit. Low Kerbal orbit. So we're going to SAS, throttle up, and off we go. We're going to waste no time here. Or, well, very little time, hopefully. Trying to pull this over onto a 90-degree heading. Okay. And let's just lock it to prograde. There we go. And we're chilling at like 45 degrees here already. We're already going quite horizontal, but that should be reasonably okay. With this particular design, there's no such thing as too much horizontal speed as long as you don't blow up in the atmosphere. That's the litmus test there. So we're just going to punch our way through as much of the atmosphere as we can. I would like to get a little bit more altitude, for sure. We're seeing a lot of aerodynamic drag right now. I'm just going to hold here for the moment. I'm not going to go more towards the horizon. Okay. Off go those side boosters. I want more altitude, so we're just going to keep pushing this up. You can see time to apoapsis is increasing right now. This is good. This is very good. Only a 20-kilometer apoapsis for the moment. There's an argument to be made that this was too much horizontal speed. And the reason for that is because we're getting a lot of atmospheric drag here. And if this overheats, then yeah. Of course, I should have fixed the lack of oxidizer here. That is definitely something that I should have done, because that liquid fuel is going to be completely wasted. At the very least, I should have just removed that liquid fuel. But that's a problem that we can deal with later. This is plenty as it is. This is completely well suited for what we need to do here. It's a little inefficient, sure, but it'll get the job done. Our apoapsis height is now up in orbit, or rather in vacuum, so that's good. At this point, we can flop over to prograde, and we can just coast. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to coast prograde, and at this point, we'll hop to this apoapsis and push that out to be something kind of like, not quite that much, but something kind of like this. That'll do. Okay, all good. So yeah, there's definite inefficiencies with our ascent profile there, and there's also an inefficiency with this liquid fuel adapter up here, not having oxidizer. I should definitely do something about that in the future, if I remember. We're hitting 50 kilometers, which is generally the safe point to deploy, but since we're moving so fast, I'm going to take it up to like 60 this time. We're not burning our engines right now, so there's no real benefit to deploying the fairing a little bit early here. So this will be okay. Like I said, I'll deploy this at 60 kilometers. Okay, we'll go ahead and deploy that. We're not going to extend any of this stuff just yet. I wouldn't mind getting to the maneuver node, but I think for right now, prograde is the place to be. At least until we hit vacuum here. 3 more kilometers. 2 more. 1 more kilometer. And vacuum. Okay, we're going to flip on over. And let's not forget to extend our solar panels. Yes, you can set up action groups for this. I never, ever do. And there isn't really a reason for that. It's not something that I've ever worked with. I just always do it manually. Probably better to do action groups, but here we are. So we're going to go ahead and warp to this maneuver. And we're going to burn here in about a minute for our circularization burn. Cool. 2, 1, burn. Okay. This is probably good enough. Yeah, this is good enough. We don't need to burn anymore. So at this point, we should go ahead and set our fancy new moon here as our target. It's not a very big moon, but it is a moon, nevertheless. 0.2 degrees on our descending node here, so we should probably try to alter that a tiny bit. It's like 9 meters per second. We'll go ahead and warp to that. That'll be 11 minutes. No big deal. So we'll change our inclination to match planes. Line up for that burn. We'll physics warp as we turn. Oh, that's very twitchy. Okay. Yeah, I remember that from previously, that's incredibly twitchy. Okay. At this point, we will regular warp just a little bit here. And burn. I wildly overshot. I incredibly wildly overshot there. Let's correct that. That's entirely my own fault. I have no idea what I was even doing. I don't even know. My mind was not on this, clearly. It was a 9 meter per second burn. What was I thinking? So we're going to pull this back. And that should be good enough. Yep, that'll do. So next we're going to want to intercept this asteroid. When would we want to do that? Sometime around here? That's not very close, if I'm honest. So we're going to need to change when that burn occurs. Okay. That's really close. Can be fine-tuned a little bit. 57 kilometers separated. Okay, we don't really need anything here. Just checking that. And can we get any closer with any radial mixed in? Yes. Yes, we can. Losing efficiency at about 30 kilometers. But let's see if we can toss in any additional... That is very sensitive there. 30.7 appears to be the best we've got. Well, 30.6. But that's close enough. Okay, so we'll line up for that burn. We're not going to physics warp this because it's very twitchy. So this is going to burn this entire stage and most of this stage. This stage is just pointless. We definitely need to fix that. And let's just, you know what? Let's fix that right now. So we're going to hop back to the Space Center. I want to fix this before I forget. It's too late for this flight, but it doesn't actually matter for this flight. This flight will have more than enough juice for what we need. So that'll be okay. And we're going to hop in as soon as we can into the VAB. So the simple fix would be to just drop the liquid fuel. The less simple fix would be to ditch this adapter and put in one with both fuel and oxidizer. So let's see, what do we got here? We would need something like, I mean, that's the NCS adapter. That's the Rockamax brand. That's not the one that we're looking for, and that doesn't have fuel either. I would like to have it be an actual fuel adapter. This has oxidizer and liquid fuel. It's obviously too large. Obviously too large. It starts at the right size, but it goes to the wrong size. But I think the FLA10 is the one that we want, maybe? Well, that's not a fuel adapter. but it does work. So I guess we'll call that good. That'll just save us a bunch of weight in this stage. So that'll make it a little bit more efficient. So let's go ahead and leave here. And we're going to hop back into the tracking station. And let's get this thing going. So we're going to warp to this maneuver node, which is going to be in like 33 minutes. Not a big deal. Any moment now. There we go. We'll warp to that. And that'll be done very shortly. It is about time to put a cut in here, though. I think we're going to go until after this burn, and then next episode we'll dock this up and get this contract completed, launch a new one of these guys, and we'll probably crash this guy into the moon as well. But we'll launch a new one of these guys and try to get a Class A asteroid. So that'll be fine, but let's just get this burn done really quickly. Really quickly, rather. I tried to, like, combine quickly and quick here, and it kind of didn't work. We've got 3 seconds until this burn. And let's go. So this whole stage is going to get burned off. This is useless weight. But that's okay. We have this fixed for future versions at this point. 25 more seconds on this burn. We probably want to lock to maneuver. Let's go ahead and do that. We have some other direction in there other than just prograde, so that's fine. And off we go. Now this Terrier is of course going to have to be thrust limited eventually down to 50%. We know that. Okay, let's get this last little bit here done. There we go. We'll get that thrust limited down. And how's that intercept looking? That is not as close as we were expecting. Not as close at all. Okay. Well, we'll fine-tune it in the next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and yeah, a radial burn will pretty much get us what we want. There we go. Let's just do this right now, since I'm working on it as we speak. Okay, prograde doesn't really help at all. Radial gets us down to like 28 kilometers, 27. Yep. Little bit more radial here, or not radial there, I guess. A little bit of normal can work too. Yep. 1 kilometer. 0.7. 0.4. Okay. Prograde retrograde is obviously not the way to go here. That was a little bit overkill there. Okay. Let's bring that on down. 0.1 kilometers. 0.0. Okay, 19.1 meters per second there. Let's prepare for that, but that will be a next episode thing. I think I already did the outro, but let me do it again here. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, JJ Gamer, Spartan News, Rose Valentine, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.